In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Princess Leia Organa from A New Hope. Hello Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video. And as I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Princess Leia Organa from A New Hope. This is one of 6 figures from an upcoming wave of vintage collection figures that also includes Darth Vader, a Stormtrooper, R2-D2, Luke Skywalker X-Wing and Captain Rex. Pretty awesome wave. Can't wait to get my hands on all of the others, but for now we have Princess Leia Organa, and I feel very privileged to be at MCM Comic Con just yesterday where this figure was shown to the world. Of course, we've seen, press images and things like that when it was revealed, but this is the first time anyone got to see it in hand, and I have it here for review. So we're going to be taking a really good close-up look at it. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts. If you want to pre-order this figure, then if you're in the UK, of course, we've got In Demand Toys. I was with In Demand Toys yesterday at MCM Comic Con. Star Action Figures is also an option for you as well. And if you're in the US, you've got Entertainment Earth. And I think Amazon may even have these pretty soon as well. So hopefully you guys will have this in hand yourselves very soon anyway. But let's take a quick look at the card back and then we'll remove the figure and take a close-up look. Okay then, so here is the card back for Princess Leia, and of course it is using the classic image that they used way back in 1978 for the Kenner line. Exactly the same. This is how it would have been, of course, with the vintage figure inside rather than a modern interpretation, and that is just a classic image. You've got the blue name pill with the blue panel behind the figure there. If we look at the back, you get another picture of the figure itself with the card back Vintage Collection logo, and she is VC316 in the line. You get a little tiny write-up about Princess Leia there in multiple languages. Now I'm just going to bring in another modern figure that we have with this card back, just so we can take a quick comparison. It is the one from the Vintage Original Trilogy Collection. This one was released in 2004. It is unpunched because these came in like a clamshell. And it also doesn't have the warning in the top right, and I think that's because it came in one of those clamshells and the warnings were on the outside. But you can see there that the image on the left-hand side, the new version, is far superior. This one on the right has a sort of green tinge to it. The quality is not there whatsoever. They've cleaned the image up really, really well on the new version, and it's just going to look stunning on the wall with all your other figures from A New Hope. What Hasbro have also done, and it was fan requested, is that they've moved the warning sign, which used to be up here on the top right, down to the bottom so that it doesn't obscure the Hildebrand logo there, which is a very nice move. Thank you so much for doing that, Hasbro. But all being said, it's a classic card back. It's one of the original 96. It's a brand new layer that we've been asking for. And let's take the figure out of the package and take a closer look. Alright then, so here is Princess Leia out of the packaging, and the first thing that you will probably notice, you've seen the press images anyway, is that this figure doesn't have any soft goods. It's made out of soft vinyl plastic, and honestly I think they've actually made the right call on this occasion. I am usually a big advocate for soft goods on figures, but I feel with the way Princess Leia's robes sort of like fall or drape, I really don't think soft goods would have been the right call for this figure. I've seen the Black Series version and I really do not like it. And also we've got previous figures like that Vintage Original Trilogy Collection version which do have a soft goods skirt, and I'll bring her in a minute, the loose version, and you'll see the difference. But of course it would be nice to be able to sit this character down in the Millennium Falcon, for example, and I'm sure maybe in the future Hasbro will look at maybe using this sculpt and perhaps replacing the bottom half of the figure with some soft goods so you can sit her down in the Falcon. But in terms of using her for displays in things like the Trash Compactor and the Tantive 4, things like that, then this is absolutely great. I think they've absolutely nailed it. Also, what I'd like to say is that the head sculpt on this figure, in my opinion, is phenomenal. Everybody that saw it live in hand at MCM thought it was great. But I did notice that when I posted it on Instagram and also videos of it as well, for some reason through the lens, it just doesn't seem to capture what you can see when it's in hand. So I can't wait for you guys to get this figure in hand so you can truly see how good it is for yourselves, because I personally feel that they've absolutely nailed the head sculpt. They've had major problems with Carrie Fisher previously, and I think on this occasion they've done a fantastic job. We will get a closer up look of the head sculpt in a second, but I just wanted to put her in a pretty simple pose there holding her blaster. She does also come with a Stormtrooper blaster as well, and also a removable hood. So you've got the hood on her back which drapes down, and then one that goes over the head, and you can swap them out, which is really, really good. So now you've taken a quick look at the figure just standing there, let's take a closer look at the head sculpt. Okay then, so here is a close-up look at the head sculpt of the Princess Leia. You can see all the detailing on the hair buns there, looks really, really good. And I'm just going to move the figure around slowly so you can see there as the light sort of reflects off the face. And as I said before, you know, from some angles, close up, it doesn't look, you know, 100%, but I always find with these 3 3/4 inch figures, if you stand about a foot away, then it just looks uncanny to me. And that's what everyone was thinking when we were looking at it in hand. You know, when you look close up like this, sometimes you don't get to appreciate the full detail of it, basically. But I can assure you, it is really, really good. Honestly, it is. Let's just move her out a little bit, just so maybe you'll be able to capture some of the things that I'm sort of capturing when I look at it. The sculpting work on the head is fantastic. I think they've nailed it, as I said before, and the paint applications are really, really good as well. And if we just turn the figure around there, you'll see the piece on the back. That is removable, so that's the hood down. And in a second, I will swap that out for the hood up mode, if you like. But just some other details about the figure, of course, you know, it's quite simple really. She's in a long white gown, but she does have some nice detailing around her waist. If we just move the torso up slightly there, you'll see those silver belt buckles, and they go all the way around the figure. We just move her arms there, you can just see them there. If we take this hood piece off, you can see how that fits on. You can just see the last two at the back there. And as I said before, I just feel that from a display point of view, the plastic robes, if you like, look better than soft goods would. I just don't think that they would sit properly, and I will bring the previous version in, the vintage original trilogy collection version, so you can see what I'm talking about. But let's just get the hood up so we can see what that looks like. So the hood has been sculpted in such a way that it can just clip around the neck ever so gently. And then if we look at the back there, that really nice sculpting work on the hood there. And of course it can accommodate the hair buns inside. So let's just put that on. So it just really clips on the back of the neck there. And there you can see her with the hood up. And once again, I just think they've really nailed that. That looks great. And then if we take a closer up look at the sculpting work on the hood down, that's just the little piece there with the peg on the back. So it's entirely up to you how you display her. But I did see when they first revealed this figure some press images of her with R2-D2, you know, bending down, putting the Death Star plans into R2-D2. So it can be done, but, you know, not completely like she was in the movie. But, you know, as the skirt there has that split up the side, the figure actually does have all of the modern articulation underneath. So it does have the barbell hips. But unfortunately, you know, because of the way that skirt is sculpted, you're not really going to be able to take advantage of any of that articulation. You know, that this particular version of this figure is just not for that, basically. It's for an aesthetically pleasing Leia, in my opinion. And I've got to say, I love it. I think it looks fantastic. Of course, I would like them to make one where it does have the lower half of soft goods, so then I can, you know, place her in the Millennium Falcon or whatever. In terms of the rest of the articulation, if I just take the hood off, the head is on a double barbell, so you get lots of range of motion with there. The shoulders are on those ball hinges which swivel all the way round. And the best part of this figure for me is the elbows. They go way past 90. Really, really good. And the wrists just look to be swivel for me because, again, with many of these female characters, the plug that goes in there is very, very thin. But again, I don't think that really takes anything away from how good the figure looks. And you saw earlier when I had the blaster in hand, you know, it didn't really need that wrist articulation anyway, but, you know. Let's take a look at the other accessory. We've got the Stormtrooper blaster here. So we've seen these plenty of times before, and just like the other blaster, she can hold it perfectly, and you can get her into the pose where she's, you know, fending off the stormtroopers. Absolutely awesome. The Leia blaster, as I call it, some of you out there may know the actual technical name for it, is a very tiny piece of plastic. You want to be careful not to break that, but it isn't too gummy. It's actually a decent piece of plastic, that, with it being so thin. So that's an improvement. As I mentioned, she does have all of the lower leg articulation, including, you know, really good knee joints and rocker ankles. But as I said before, with the plastic skirt, you're not really going to be able to take advantage of that articulation. Okay then, so here she is standing next to the VOTC version of Princess Leia from 2004. So at this point, it's plain to see that this new figure is far, far superior. Of course, the VOTC version does have the soft goods skirt, but in my opinion, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the plastic version. And that's what I was talking about earlier in terms of the way the dress hangs. It has a specific look for Princess Leia, and I think they've absolutely nailed it with the new version. As I mentioned before, of course, it would be lovely to have this version brought out with soft goods purely for those sit-down moments, if you were. But, you know, looking at these two figures, it's chalk and cheese. The head sculpt is far, far superior. This one looks like a China doll to me. And of course, it only has the swivel elbows and everything like that. So for me, huge, huge improvement. And now I'm going to get this Princess Leia, the new one, and I'm going to put her in my trash compactor so you can see a little scene and how good she looks in there. And there we have the new Leia in this awesome diorama that was made and gifted to me by Daniel Chart. Thank you so much, buddy. I've got her there, of course, with the Han Solo Stormtrooper, Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper, and the Vintage Collection Chewbacca there at the back, banging on the door. It looks fantastic. It's exactly how I wanted it set up. And thank you, Daniel. I no longer need this VOTC version of Leia. A nice guy at MCM Comic Con asked me where I'm going to display Leia, how I'm going to display her, and I said I'm going to buy a few of them basically because I want one for the trash compactor, I want one of them for the Tantive 4 hallway playset, and there's other scenes that I want to create. If we ever get a Luke Farm Boy, Han Solo, then you can do like Death Star escape setups and things like that. It's going to be awesome. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching. If you want to see more of this Princess Leia, then you can check out some images that I put up on Instagram from MCM Comic Con. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to thank my Patreon supporters and channel members. You guys are awesome, and if you want to pre-order this figure, then there might be some links in the description below. Thank you for watching, everybody, and also thank you to Hasbro for the opportunity to get an early review of this figure. It means a lot, so thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.